Hello everyone, and I welcome you on the second episode of our AI implementation crash course, which is the welcome course for our community. If you're already in it, I congratulate you upon doing your first steps upon your automations in the business and work. If you are watching it on YouTube or any other resource, the link for the community, it is free, will be in the description, because you will add and have additional resources and can get the feedback from the peers and experts upon completion of this course. And we are moving forward, and today we will be speaking about our first step in the methodology and doing our first automation in the business. But before that, we need to understand one key concept. I recommend you to think in terms of the system, which consists of 3 steps. We will go back to that in the detail in the next episode, but right now I need you to understand the general concept, right? Concept is divided between 3 steps. So first is the problem, then is the process, and then the automation. Why is that? Because basically most people on the market just give you the solutions, right? We build the automation tool for this or that. We build the workflow on n8n or meg.com in order to do your lead gen process. It can work somehow in your business. But unless you understand your process and your problem, which you actually are solving with this automation, you won't be successful in it. You either have a lot of iterations of understanding and doing the automation for yourself. You will spend more money on doing the specific tuning for this process and workflow. And eventually you will spend so much more on tokens because the input information and output information are not correct in your case and would not be correct. So I recommend you to think in terms of that. What I mean by problem is that basically you need to first understand what current problems you actually have right now. We all have problems, right? Something isn't working enough. Maybe some team member is constantly late or doesn't deliver the results we always want to. And this is the problem. And you need to list all these problems and then prioritize them. And the more problems, the better eventually be the result. But here is another point here. In order to capture all these problems, we need to understand what is the problem for ourselves, right? How we qualify the problems, maybe in the business, in our projects, in our work life, or maybe personal life, in order to understand and improve that. I recommend you to go in specific points, and you will find more about them, and you will find more questions in our workbook, which is specifically designed for working and collecting all the information and going step by step in this course to build your first automation. But basically you need to keep in mind several points here. So first, frustration. Which problems are the most frustrated for you? Maybe something which is not working properly and you still do not have time to fix that, but it drives you crazy. Write that down, and this would be the starting point for you to understand what could be implemented or improved next. The second point is profit/revenue impact. So basically, you also need to understand that there are some problems in your business or projects which maybe are not super tricky, right? Or need a lot of time to be spent on to fix, but they have a high revenue or profit impact. What do I mean by that is, for example, you have the problem that all the invoices are not delivered or sent to the client in your project on a specific date after you finish the work, or maybe the client check the result of your work, and you always fail the delivery date of the invoice, let's say that. This is the small problem which need to be fixed, but and on the other hand, it has already the high impact on your revenue and profit, because if you do not do this on time, you will receive the delay for receiving the money, and you will have the cash gaps eventually, and it will affect on your P&L cash flow statements, and eventually your margins for the specific period and profits in general as the owner. So write that down as well. The next point is ease of implementation. Basically, we are not building rockets here to the Mars or doing something extraordinary. If we are limited in budget and we do not know what is going on in a specific project and with a specific team, we need to spend as less resources as we possibly can in order to test the automation, do the iterations, fix all bugs, save time and money on tokens, and eventually receive the result we want. And the last but not least is the speed of implementation. So basically, how fast can we implement everything in our life, in our projects, in our work, in our teamwork, etc. Because basically, yes, we can build something great and it will work perfect, but it will require 2 years and $500,000 to implement. You now understand that if you are a small business owner or a sole entrepreneur or just doing the startup, you don't have first this amount of time because it would be irrelevant for you, right? And the second, you don't have this level of resources and budget. So you need to keep that in mind. And basically, there are more questions about that for you to understand and prioritize your problems. Just collecting them and writing them down on the list. It will also be helpful for you to understand the general scope of your current situation in the projects, in business, in general life. So basically, we go down to our action plan in this section to wrap it up. I highly recommend you to write all your problems in the workbook. There is a specific section to that with the questions to reflect, to ask yourself and understand what is actually going on in your business. Don't go on the other steps right now. We are just capturing the information. Don't write any super important and super complicated things with a high specific language, etc. This can be general things which nags you. Post a question in the community chat. So basically, if you already finished the first intro lesson, you would probably have the list of questions which you can or would ask to the community or the community expert, right? So do this right now, and basically this will help you to first speed up your learning process. Second, maybe you already find some ideas which you haven't thought of before, and they can be with the less amount of resources, less amount of time, and you can actually implement it. Why is that, and why we build this interaction with the community chat and the crash course and the workbook is because you can get the instant feedback for your work and understand what is the process and what is the stage you are on right now, because it is unknown territory if you are learning this from scratch and you are not a technical person. So I highly recommend you to do that. And if you have any questions, please ask them in the video comment section below or in the community chat. We will answer that with our experts and we will proceed further. So next episode will be about the second steps and second stage of our process to create our first automation. See you soon.